You like? All right. There.
Hello all, welcome to the Green Cells monthly webinar. We have a webinar on various topics every second Sunday of the month. This is a special edition of our webinar where we'll be talking about composting right in time for that part because we're hitting that part of the year. We'll be starting today's webinar shortly. As we wait for everyone to join us, we will play a short video which speaks to our activities and events. If anything is of interest to you, please do reach out to us and join us.
You want a little bit of shade foundation? Fortunately, there's no rain. So we will take.
I hope you enjoyed our short video. As I mentioned before, if anything is of interest to you, please do reach out to us and join us. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and on our website, and you can stay informed of all our upcoming events. So without much ado, let's get ahead and start with our webinar for today. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. My name is Nirupama Rajasimhan, your co-host for today. We also have Sandesh and Lata with our presenter Uma in her garden. So today's webinar, as you all know, is about composting garden waste. Green Cell is a volunteer-run nonprofit organization. We are passionate about raising awareness on environmental issues and promoting sustainable solutions. As part of our efforts, we run a lot of community projects such as cleanup drives, food rescues, and recycling campaign. Our objective is to help everyone. Our objective is to help everyone incorporate small and big green changes in our environment, in our daily lives, which go a long way in reducing our negative impact on the environment and the natural world. Simply put, our aim is to help everyone go green. As part of this, we also have other projects such as Plant a Row for the Hungry, neighborhood glass recycling, utensils loaning, and food rescue. Again, if any of these projects are of interest to you, please do reach out to us. We will be more than happy to engage you as part of these events. Our other initiatives also include composting with a buddy and trash audit, two very, very popular programs of our Green Cell group. So please engage with us, or you could look at our previous webinars to know more about some of these initiatives that we have going on. Now I will pass it on to our co-presenters, Lata, who is with our presenter for the day, Uma. So Lata, please carry on.
Thank you, Nirupama. Welcome once again on this wonderful Sunday afternoon. This Green Cell webinar is a little extra special because we are with our guest speaker, Uma, in her beautiful backyard. It's perfect because today's weather is all about composting your yard waste. And what better time than now, since it's the fall weather, the leaves are falling. And, I hope you guys are collecting all this leaves, which are almost also called as browns. So now let me introduce you to Uma. It gives me an immense pleasure to introduce our speaker, Uma. For those who have attended our prior webinars, Uma is no stranger. Uma is an urban gardener who helps people set up their food gardens. She is always willing to work with you to help a no-dig organic garden using homemade compost. She is otherwise engaged in teaching and writing about financial markets. She is a storehouse of knowledge for composting and growing a healthy, high-yielding garden, and is always willing to share this knowledge and handhold us through this process. And to add on, Uma has also started doing these composting road shows where she goes to neighborhoods around the town. And I was fortunate enough to have Uma in my backyard with a lot of my friends. And we all were learning composting. It was so much fun. So in case you guys are interested, please do reach out. In fact, even yesterday, we had a session in Suwannee to learn about composting with Uma. And before I turn it on to Uma, I'll read some housekeeping rules. So we will have all the attendees on mute so that we can hear Uma clearly. If you have any questions, thoughts to share, please do use the Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube chat. Our volunteers are monitoring those questions, and we will get those questions to Uma. And if you have any questions after the session, please do email us. And once again, Uma, a warm welcome to you, and the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Lata. Thank you. Thank you, Green Cell. My association with Green Cell over the past 2 years has been one of the most beautiful things to have happened to me after coming to Atlanta, because all I do is gardening and composting and running a trash-free home. And I love to talk, as you will find out a little later. As I speak, you will know how much I like to hear my own voice. But Green Cell gave me this voice to be able to go out and talk to people, to teach people. So I'm very grateful that I'm doing another session with you all today. Today's session is about dealing with yard waste. Typically, what I have seen in the US after I came here is that there is a particular trash collection day. There is a celebrated brown bag that one buys from the Home Depot or from Lowe's. There is a tall brown bag. Makes everybody feel that they're doing something very organic and good. And then this tall brown bag is filled with the garden waste. And it's left out on the curb to be picked up. And when I followed the trash collecting services to ask what they did with them, these also ended up in landfill unless, that's a nice unless many of the soil sellers and landscape businesses around Atlanta took them over from them. So there is a place where these are kept for about a week for these people to pick up. And if they did pick up in that time, it went to creating compost in the landscape companies. If that did not happen, these went into the landfill. So after I associated with Green Cell and we started looking at each one of the aspects of waste generation in running our household, I believe that it is important for us to be able to treat our yard waste in our own homes. I remember my neighbors being very dismayed when the trash collector said, we won't take more than 2 bags. And then they were wondering, what do I do with this? Yeah. So much of this is actually, all of this will become soil. So today's session is going to look at the various kinds of waste that a typical yard will generate and to be able to see what we can do with all of them. I have samples of them somewhere kept here in front of you to show you what can be done. So we have at least 6 to 7 types of yard waste here that we're going to talk about. Let me begin with the simpler ones and then come to what I believe might be a time-consuming one a little later. I will begin with the grass clippings. So grass clippings are something that we generate, every yard generates ever so often. Okay. Now, there is a choice of leaving the grass clipping right to where the grass is clipped rather than collected. That would mean that the grass will decompose right there and will turn into fertilizer. That's one of the easiest ways to deal with the grass clipping, but people are unable to do it for 2 important reasons. The first one is that everyone is used to watering their lawn every day. The lawn needs to be watered only once a week. So when you are putting in the green waste and you are providing too much of moisture, if you see the grass clippings, you will find that they are absolutely moist. They are so nitrogen rich. They're extremely rich in nutrition, but they can decompose very fast. They can become very warm. For example, if you have a pile of grass somewhere in your yard and you go and turn it the next day, you will find that it's actually steaming. So it kind of starts to decompose really fast. And it can get, so when you add too much of water to it, it starts rotting rather than decomposing. And then it starts matting up, and then it can also create problems with the lawn. So if you drop off the grass clippings with a good watering regimen, your grass will benefit from all of this nitrogen, which is already present in the grass clippings. That's the simplest way to deal with it. The second thing that can be done is to collect the grass clippings and to compost it by creating a pile. Okay, a pile can be created by mixing up the grass clippings with the brown leaves. So the brown leaves that you're going to get from the fall, this is brown leaves. We use the same lawn mower to crush them so that the leaves are crushed up. And then you mix these two and you fill them up, keep them in a place. They will decompose in very quickly, in about 2 months, and you will have extremely good quality compost. And to do that, you can use a wire bin of this kind. This is just hardware cloth from Home Depot. This is hardware cloth. It has been just wrapped up together. There's a little bit of wire tie which has been used to roughly bring it together. So you just leave it like this, and then you add the yard waste and the brown leaves together, make it into a pile and leave it for some time. It will completely decompose. And what's important is that both these will lose volume. So the grass clippings will look like a lot when you first see them. But when you pile it, and in the next week, when you're going to again clip grass, if you come back and see, you'll find that the grass that you put the previous week has got compressed and has lost about more than 2/3 of its volume. So it is possible to use this innocuous looking little wire bin will hold about 2 months worth of yard waste. And I'm talking about a 1/2 acre yard that I have in the front. Now, there's an important caveat, and this is, I think, very, very important. Many of us use weed killers. It's all right to use fertilizers. They will just become, I'm saying it's all right to use in a very loose sense, okay? They're not going to harm your compost. But if you're going to use weed killers, if you're going to use synthetic weed killers on your grass, then composting it is of no use, because those weed killers which inhibit the growth of anything which is broader than the blade of grass will inhibit the germination of everything else where you add the compost. So if you're treating your lawn with weed killers, and if you are, like most households do, overdoing it, then you might have to trash your grass, which is unfortunate.
Right. Okay.
But if you did not treat your lawn, then you're going to be all right. If you're going to use products like vinegar sprays, organic products which are not harmful to germination, you can use them. So that's about grass. Is there any question about grass, Lata?
One thing I think somebody was asking was, does it smell? Do you keep it closer to your house, or do you just move it away in the back?
If you add enough amount of browns, you should have no problem.
Okay.
It's not going to smell. But grass is very nitrogenous. So keeping it very close to the house can be unpleasant.
Okay.
It is better to keep it. It's very nitrogenous, highly nitrogenous. It's criminal that something so rich in nitrogen that the garden needs is thrown away.
Right.
If you find a way to use it, it's good. But by the same token, it can smell strongly. Okay. So it's good to keep it away. With browns, you're fine, but it's good to keep it away.
Okay.
So that's about grass. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is the leaves themselves. Now, fall is here and you're going to have a lot of leaves coming in. Now, the brown leaves that the trees shed are actually filled with, they're brown, therefore they don't have any nitrogen in them. They're primarily carbon. There is lignin and cellulose in them. Lignin and cellulose take much longer to decompose. So the leaves will take a season, maybe about, if you have a good composting process, you can get an output in about 6 months' time, which is what happens in my yard. But if you leave the leaves to be as they are, in about 2 to 3 years' time, they will completely become soil. So if you don't want to do anything to the leaves, please find a corner in your yard in which you can blow all these leaves and let them be. In about 2 to 3 years' time, they will all decompose and you can just pull out that mulch and spread it all across your garden. And your garden will be so thankful for it because this is natural mulch. One of the reasons why the leaves is useful is because the leaves have micronutrients. They don't have nitrogen, but they have micronutrients. These leaves have nutrition that the tree has taken from the ground, from the sky, from the rains, from the sun. So they hold tremendous amount of micronutrients. You must remember that the root growth of your plants is not as deep as that is there of the trees. Trees are able to mine nutrition from much deeper soil. So they will bring micronutrients like boron and others, which are so difficult to get, so precious for your plants. So the leaves have micronutrients which have been mined by the trees. And the way you can get your garden to use them is to take these leaves, collect the leaves. It's a great idea to crush them. If you crush them, they lose volume. They lose almost 80% of volume if you crush them. The simplest way to crush them is to spread them out and run your lawnmower on them. Otherwise, you do have leaf crushing contraptions like the works and other equipment in which you can throw the leaves. What these equipments do is they have a contraption inside, which is very similar to our edging tool, a little thread. So the thread moves in great speed and crushes the leaves. So if you do not have this machine, you can fill up the leaves in a bin and simply put your edging tool inside that bin and run it. The leaves will get crushed. Okay. Yeah, there are people who dance on brown leaves to crush them, but there we are romanticizing. Okay, but there are people who can drive their car over it. For example, I have done it, but you can run your lawnmower over it. It's a fairly simple thing. One note of caution here: please make sure that you remove big twigs, big branches, and big twigs from your leaves before you do this. You can hurt the blades of your leaf crusher and your lawnmower if you are running it over leaves which are mixed with large branches.
Okay.
But once you have the leaves and you've collected them, you can use them in composting. In composting, we add 2 portions brown to 1 portion greens when we do the composting. So if you have an old trash bin and you have collected all these leaves and kept them inside that, you can use them throughout the year in composting. It's hugely useful. In many of my composting sessions, people worry about what is the source of browns. We have a free source of brown that's available in the form of leaves that can be used. There's another thing that you can also do with leaves, which is something that I do in my garden. I can show it to you. Sandesh, we just look at just a minute, Shakti. Finish this and do that. So what I have here is a wire bin again. This is a wire bin that's again created from hardware cloth. But as you can see, this is a slightly taller hardware cloth, about 4 feet tall. What I've done here is I've just crushed the leaves and piled them up here. I can show you. This was created in spring. I can show you what's happening here. You see this? So what happens to the leaves is that, and you can see the earthworm. You can see the little, you see this guy? Very happy, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Very happily living there. So this is all, and Lata and Sandesh will vouch for it's smelling like fresh earth.
It does.
After rain. It smells so beautiful. Yeah. So what you can do is you can crush the leaves and you can simply pile them up like this in the corner of your yard and you can keep it. the top portion will be dry, okay? But you dig a little inside, it will all be moist and beautiful. Here you are, there. Can you see the earthworm? Yeah, it's beautiful environment. So he's very happy to live there. So what happens to this is that the leaves are all decomposed very quickly, and you can use this for your seed starting. Okay, when you're starting your seeds in the fall or in the next season. So you collect the leaves in the fall, you can use it in the spring, you collect them in spring, you can use them in the fall. So you can create your own seed starting mix. This is an extremely nutritious, fluffy, beautiful seed starting mix, unlike the plastic bags that you get from stores. So you can have your free seed starter. You can also use this. Now, if you are a yard which has a lot of trees and you have a lot of stuff like this can also be used as very beautiful mulch, both for your winter garden and for your summer garden. It is extremely nutritious. Rather than just putting plain leaves, you can put leaves that are composted. So that's about leaves. Are there any questions about leaves at this time?
So a question is, how often do you turn it? Do you have to turn it?
No, you don't have to turn it at all. That's a beautiful thing about the leaf compost, because leaf compost in itself has no greens. So there's nothing to solidify or rot there. It's just the leaves that are getting broken down, and leaves are very fluffy. So there is enough amount of air that is built in, and you see that bin itself is a wire bin. So you see that it's all dry on the outside, right? That outside, there's enough air that's going in. So the process has enough air. See, turning is done to build air. Now, there is no need in this process for you to externally take the bother of building air. So you crush the leaves, you bin them, and you leave them. They have to be moist. So if they are left open like this to the sun, and if they are to the soil at the bottom, earthworms will come from below and work on them. And the rain will come and fall on it to make it moist, and excess rainwater will drain away. So it's an absolutely hassle-free bin for keeping leaves. I have seen several people who put leaves in plastic bags and leave them in the garage. Please don't do it. Allow for the leaves to decompose. That's a much better option. Store them out in the open and let them decompose rather than being stored and hoarded in one place. So you can, any number of now, what is there in that bin? I don't know. I'm not seeing you in person, but I can probably ask Sandesh and Lata. How many Home Depot trash bags do you think that has?
3 or 4.
It's 12 bags.
Oh my, wow. Amazing.
It's 12 bags, okay?
Wow.
So what we have processed last spring in this yard of mine is about 65 trash bags of leaves that have been collected from my neighbors. Now, this is what was excessive. So it's about 12 bags or a little more than 12 bags. Okay. And it was to the top, and it looked like you can't fill any more. But as I told you, as it decomposes, it loses volume. So it keeps going inside. Yeah. Okay. So that's about the leaves. Now, what I want to show you is leaf mulch of the previous fall. Lata, can you just, yeah. This is your leaf mulch of the previous fall. You can see that it's all decomposed to a large extent. Yeah. Sorry, this is not fall, this is spring. We were not even here in the previous fall. Okay. So what you can see here, there are earthworms. Ooh. Yeah.
Was it in the similar mesh? Like
yes,
that?
It was in a mesh like that. I have just removed it to just show it to you and to use it here. So you can see, I mean, this is what has been removed from that. You can see what I've done is, now these are coffee grounds. What I've done here is I've added some coffee grounds. You can also add some coffee grounds to make it nitrogen rich. And these are filled with earthworms. Yeah. And I have also added some soil to make it possible for microorganisms to come in and work on it. So a handful of soil is enough. So you can see that this is absolutely fluffy and it has earthworms. Where is he? Yeah, here.
Do they naturally come like that?
There.
Or?
So the earthworms coming into your mulch is an indication that it is beautiful in terms of its microenvironment. It has enough air. Earthworms can't be there if there's no air. It has enough air. It is not rotting. They don't tolerate the rotting smell. And it's not, it's got adequate moisture. So you have enough earthworms that have come into the So this is how your leaf pile will get decomposed. Yeah. Are there questions on the leaves?
So do you get any other worms other than the earthworms in this
No,
one?
there is nobody else. It's nobody else's habitat. Okay, the leaf, if you put it into the wire bin, a snake, for example, will not climb in and dig inside, because a snake is unable to dig into a pile like this. The snake will get into, if you just kept plain leaves as a pile, snakes will slither into them, because it's easy for snakes to push aside whole leaves and get in. Yeah. So if you do have a leaf pile, I would suggest that you don't plunge your hands into them, particularly in spring. In this cold weather, now they're all gone. They all have had their babies and they've all now gone away. They all will be hibernating in the winter. So there's no fear of snakes at this time. Yeah. And if there are any other creepy crawlies that come in here, they will all die because they don't have food. There's only leaves. Only earthworms can eat this.
Okay.
Okay. So this is about the leaves.
All right.
Now we will talk about twigs. Yeah. You're going to look at these. Now, you're going to have several of these in your yard. Yeah. You're going to have clippings that have come from what you have trimmed, or you're going to have, tree branches. Now, what these are is, you have, this is your tea olive tree. Okay. So you have clippings. You have clipped the tree. Let's say your azalea or any of your bushes. You've clipped them. What you would do is just leave them, clip them and leave them in a place. In about a month's time, all the leaves will fall off. See, all the leaves which are there, they all decompose faster. So the leaves will fall off, and what you'll be left with is only the twigs. Yeah. Now these twigs are hugely useful when you build a raised bed. See, when you build a raised bed, many of us would like to build a bed which is tall, and filling the whole bed with soil, or using a large pot and filling the whole thing with soil, can be very expensive. So what you would do is put all of these twigs at the bottom. Yeah, all these small twigs which are here. You see all of these branches that have fallen. I collect them all and you put them at the bottom of the bed when you are creating a bed. Now that creates a huge advantage, because what will happen is these branches have a huge capability of absorbing water. So your beds will become a no water bed. When you have this at the bottom, when it rains, this will be completely soaked in water and it will absorb water. And afterwards, this moisture will get released into the soil and it will keep the soil moist. So when you're building a raised bed, these are of great use. So there are 3 uses to which you can put these branches. One is to layer your pots, to layer your beds. Beds, you can layer them as it is. If you're going to put it in the pots, you might want to break them into smaller twigs and put them in, so you can use them. 2, if you just leave these at a corner in your yard, please don't go and plunge your hands again, because stick piles are also places where snakes can come in spring. Okay. So if you keep them in a corner in your yard, it's one of the great ways of attracting birds to your yard, because birds are looking for twigs all the time for building nests. So if you're going to leave little twigs all over your yard, birds are all the time going to come in to pick these twigs. And when they do that, they're going to pick up the worms and other soft bodies that are pests in your yard. So that's going to be another useful thing. Then the third thing that you can do with these, this I would ask you to exercise caution, particularly branches that are thick like this, shorter branches that are thick like this, except for eagles. Now, eagles will pick up these. I don't know how many of you have seen an eagle's nest. An eagle's nest is a magnificent architecture, right? To the tall branch of a plant, a tree, which is strong and sturdy. They build a raft. That's how their nest is. So you must see an eagle carry huge tree branches to the top of the tree. It's such a beautiful sight. So there are birds that will use bigger branches too, but we've said that already. The other thing is that you can collect these kind of bigger branches and you can build what we call biochar. So you dig a pit. After the 1st of September, permissions for burning wood in the backyard are provided. Biochar is an exempted activity. It's an agricultural activity which is exempted from restrictions that are there on burning. But please do look up the restrictions that are there in your county or your community. The community could have imposed conditions because there is a safety hazard in burning. But when we create biochar, we don't actually burn it fully. What we do is we create a pit. I'm unfortunately not able to demonstrate it to you, but I do it every year. I do it sometime in the middle of September. This year I'm delayed. I have some finished biochar which I can show you. So we build a small pit into which we put all these sticks, and then we light a fire. When it catches fire, and when we know that the wood is burning, we take a sack, a thick jute sack, and just we cover the fire and deny it oxygen and extinguish it. So you don't allow the wood to burn and become ash. But what you do is you ensure that it is burning to the point where coal is created. We call it as char, the biochar. Okay, that it is burnt, but it's not burnt to ashes. So the end product looks like coal, but it has a glass-like. If you go to any of these places where families have had a fire to roast or to cook, you will see the charcoal which is there because they've not burnt it to the end.
Right.
Unlike a fireplace where you're burning it to the end, it has just been burnt enough and then put off. So what you will find is that those pieces of charcoal will be there, black colored charcoal, which are actually glassy, and they make a nice glass-like noise when you touch them. Why is this important in the garden? We just crush it, we soak it in some amount of water, and we apply it because this is where microbes build homes. So these are nice habitats for all those little creatures that live in soil. So they just love it. So the number of microbes in your soil will go up. You can make biochar with these. So please don't throw this wood. Keep them for birds. Keep them to line your beds and keep them to make biochar.
How deep would you do the pit, Uma?
Just enough to hold these.
Okay.
So just about half a foot.
Okay.
What many of us have a biochar burner, actually. We just rotate it among friends. So there's a burner, a double burner. You just fill up the gap with the wood and you light a fire, and then we close the lid and put it off.
I see. Okay.
So there's a biochar burner, which we gardeners share amongst ourselves. So there are one or two going amongst the groups. So we borrow it and we put it in there. So it can be done easily.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. So that's, so any questions on Twigs, Lata?
I think there was one question about, can you generally do composting on the ground?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. You can just see, okay, the simplest answer to garden waste is put them in a pile in the corner and it'll all become soil.
You don't even
have to turn, you don't have to do anything.
Okay.
Just find a corner in your yard where you're not frequenting and collect all your yard waste there. Twigs, branches, grass, leaves, mulch. Bring them, blow them all up to a corner and then let them be. Rain will fall on them, wind will fall on them, and sun will fall on them. That itself will crush it.
Okay.
The alternating action of wind, sun, and rain is enough to crumble the organic waste that you put in the corner of your garden. You don't have to turn it or do anything. After a year, it'll take a long time. After a year, if you go there and dig it, it's going to be compost.
Yeah. And then it'll keep reducing, right? So
it'll
it's not
reduce.
like a big pile.
Yes,
so
it will be a big pile when you begin. That's why, keep it at a corner that doesn't hurt your eye. And it's going to be fine.
And you keep on adding to the pile?
You can keep adding to the pile, yes.
Okay.
You can keep adding to the pile, and when spring comes, make a lot of noise, go there and use your rake to dig, and you will get fantastic compost.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. So it'll all decompose and it's all useful. So don't throw away yard waste. So that's about sticks. And then before we come to this is the large sticks. Okay. I love these. This is the Crepe Myrtle branch. Okay. Atlanta loves its Crepe Myrtle, and but Atlanta also trims its Crepe Myrtle. Yeah. So it is Crepe Myrtle, as they say. Okay. So you cut them off. So you have large Crepe Myrtle branches that the yard generates every year. These are fantastic tomato cages. Okay. They are fantastic for growing tomatoes. So just plant them next to your tomatoes. Your tomato cage, Shashi, there's a tomato cage that was lying somewhere there in that corner. Can you just get that? Thank you. So I'm just showing you the man-made contraption and how poor in design it is compared to the nature's contraption. So those of us who buy a tomato cage and think that the indeterminate tomato is going to obey this cage is fooling themselves. Yeah, the plant grows about 10 feet tall. So you'll find your tomatoes all spilling all over your tomato cage and not doing well and struggling. Whereas if you grow your tomato plants on this Crepe Myrtle, you don't even have to use a thread. It's natural contour. So the plant will just align to it and just simply grow. and you'll do very well. So don't throw the crepe myrtle branches. You can put them. And there's also another great advantage. Birds, when they come into your yard, people keep saying, oh, birds don't come to my yard. Birds will come to your yard on 3 conditions. One, there's food, worms. Birds don't eat seeds, okay? So those of you who keep a bird feeder seed, you have to go to the Audubon Society. So they eat worms primarily. Squirrels eat the seeds. And then birds need water. So you need, and none of the wild animals will drink stagnant water or water they believe is not healthy. So there has to be flowing water. So if you have a water feature in which water is flowing, or you have a fountain, that will attract birds. If you have a waterfall, that will attract birds. And if you have worms, that will attract birds. But this is your biggest attractor of birds, because they need a perch. When birds fly through your yard, they are very scared about eagles and owls picking them up. So they're not going to, you will never find a bird just flying through, very quietly. It will keep flitting from one place to another. Birds will always move from, if you find a sparrow building a nest, for example, you fly from there to there, there to there, there to there, perch here and there, and then come to the final place.
Yep.
So you want to provide perches. So when you put these in your yard, you can grow any creeper on them. It need not be tomatoes. Your bitter gourd will grow on this. Your Sangupushpam or any of those flowers will grow on this. Your clematis will grow on this. Clematis loves this. Okay. So all of those will grow on this. They look natural. They look beautiful, and you can use them. So that is, we're coming to the last part of our talk today,
All right.
which is our clippings. The plant cuttings. These are about 2 days old. I'm sorry. Okay. If you can just show this, Sandesh. Now, this is a bed in which the summer crop was growing. Now, I have brought down the bean creeper and I've just thrown it on the bed. It's perfectly fine. Yeah, it'll become mulch. I'm going to cover this with compost and I'm going to throw seeds on it. And it'll all grow well. It'll all decompose in time and it'll be fine. So you don't have to be too worried about what happens to organic material. Soil needs a lot of organic material for its health. And if you throw back food that has already grown, now these are comfrey leaves. So if you throw back leaves, it's all going to decompose and it's all going to be fine. Okay.
So you're just going to leave it there, Uma?
I will cover it with soil. This place will get fall. This will be a fall garden today evening. After the talk, that's the job.
I see.
So I'll bring compost. I will spread compost on top of this. And I'll be sowing my spinach and my methi and Swiss chard, and all the winter crops will be sown on this.
Okay.
Collards and all of them will come here.
Mm-hmm. And one question they were asking is, sometimes the squash and everything, they have this powdery mildew.
Yes.
So is that okay to just leave it there?
No. So which is what I was going to come to when I'm going to show. Now this pile, if you see here, this is our last component of today's talk. This is all my, the summer crop that has been brought down. See that bed that is empty? So everything that was there was brought down here. So if you see here, I have just clipped the plant. I will not uproot it. If you uproot it, you're going to disturb the soil. You don't want to do it. We just clip the plant to the surface and it has been brought here. These are tomatoes. These are cucumbers. There are bean vines here. There are herbs, etc. So all the summer crops, the end of the season crops have all been brought here. This is what became that. Okay. So this is what it is. And what you want to do here is you want to create a pile of all of this to decompose for spring. So they'll all become compost by spring. Now, when you do that, you have to take care of at least 3 things. The first one is you don't want to include anything that has got disease. Powdery mildew is fine. Powdery mildew is a simple fungus, so it's going to be fine. Yeah. But if you have had, for example, the cucumber beetle, the yellow beetle that has chewed up the cucumber plant, the cucumber beetle's eggs will be here, and you do not want to provide a warm environment in which they will overwinter. So you want to throw that creeper away in the cold. So in the cold, they'll all die.
Okay.
But if you put them in the compost is very warm. So they'll all survive and then they will hatch.
Okay.
So if you have any infestation, you don't want to put into the compost. Yeah.
Okay.
And if you have had a Japanese beetle infestation, there's no problem because they don't lay eggs on the plant. They lay the eggs on the ground. So the plant is still fine.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the first thing. The second thing is if this pile has any seeds. See, it's a good idea to bring your plant down when it is flowering or it doesn't have mature seeds on it. If it has mature seeds on it, these seeds will nicely stay in compost and next spring they will germinate. The good side to that is you'll have a lot of beautiful volunteers which will do fantastically. The volunteers will yield very well compared to seeds that you bring in and start with great difficulty. This is just a normal. So when I brought down the tomato plants, I have purposely left some ripe tomatoes in here so that they'll all compost. And next year when I spread the compost, some of the seeds will germinate. But you need to remember that if there are too many of these seeds, you will have too many of these plants. And that's particularly true for herbs. If you have basil and others, you want to clip them off when they are flowering. Don't wait for them to go to seed. They will just infest your garden. You will have to morning glory, basil. These all have prolific spider plant. These all have prolific number of seeds. And then you compost them. It's not hot enough to kill the seeds.
Right.
And they'll all germinate. And then you will have a task, pulling them all out. So that's the second thing. First thing is the disease. Second thing is that. And third thing to remember is that if there are very hard branches like these will not decompose very easily. Okay. While the leaves will all decompose, these won't decompose very easily. Right. So it's a good idea to clip them and put them if you can do it. Or when you take the compost out in spring, you will sieve them and take these big branches and return them to the compost. Okay. So the way we will do this is, as I said, we are reserving this for the end. You will have a wire bin like this, okay, into which all this goes. You're just going to pile these all inside this wire bin. So this is your garden waste. You're going to just throw them all in here. Yeah, these all look unruly and big at this time, but in a few days' time, they'll lose volume and they'll become too little. Okay. So, and while you're putting them in, you want to add some amount of last year's soil and compost. You remember all those earthworms and all those beautiful things were there? Yeah. So you want to add them inside.
So you basically layer them.
Yes.
Alternate. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And you can also add some leaves to it if you want. So you saw that that pile looked huge. It's not really so huge. You're able to bring it in here to a large extent. Gardening is good for you because it gives you a tremendous amount of upper body strength. It's not going to be very difficult to do these kind of tasks at the yard. So I've added all the herbs are also here. There's a beautiful aroma of the basil.
Yeah, it smells beautiful.
And so it's good to have a mix. So there are some eggplants, there are some tomatoes, there are beans. So we're putting them all in here.
So you just do it alternate. Do you add anything else, like any if you have leftover organic peels or
Yeah, you can add them.
tea
I don't want
waste?
to add. I don't want to add kitchen waste to this compost because I'm going to leave it right here and I'm going to allow it to rot. So if there is food here, then I have to cover it.
Right.
If I didn't cover it, then rodents and other creatures will come to it, will get to it.
Yeah.
So I won't add typically when I'm creating a garden waste pile, I won't be adding kitchen stuff to it.
Okay. That'll keep all the bugs away and everything.
It'll keep the critters away.
Yeah.
Bugs will still come. Wherever there's food, it all depends on whose food it is.
Okay.
So whosever food it is, they will find out and they will come. But typically, this is going to be fine as it is.
Made a nice sandwich here.
Yeah, it's not very tough to do it.
So you said you have to chop it a little bit.
You can chop it a little bit if you want it to, decompose faster.
Yeah.
I'm in no hurry when it comes to these processes because I'm going to need this. I go by what I need. The compost I need is already there. I need this in spring. which is a good 6 months away.
Yeah, we have good time.
Yeah. So in those 6 months, this is going to decompose, and this will actually lose volume in no time, and I'll be able to add. Trust me, this bin is going to be enough for everything that this garden will create by way of vegetable waste or plant waste, because it will keep losing volume and it will keep coming in there. So that's that. There's a little tomato there, which will hopefully germinate there. There's a little tomato there.
Oh yeah.
So it's fine.
So how quick is the process in winter?
It is going to be slow, but I don't care really. It will speed up as the soil. See, now you have about another 6 weeks of warm. Day temperatures are going to be 80. So that's good. Temperatures below 60 is when these microbial activities will stall. That's a little far away.
So even with the cold weather, it will still be ready by spring?
Yes.
Okay.
It always is ready by spring. I'm going to have... I have a pile created in the spring when I remove the winter crop. I have another pile created in the fall when I remove the summer crop. So this compost is ready for the spring. That compost is ready for the fall. So I harvest my compost only twice a year. So it's all looking uneven at this time, right? It's all going to be fine. In a few days, this will lose volume and I'll push it all in. So you saw that huge pile which is sitting here. It's all gone in. So in this yard, we don't let a single leaf go out. Yeah, we compost them all.
So this was your tomato plant, right? Like any
this is
plant.
tomato and beans and herbs and eggplant and okra.
So all your garden vegetable plants can go in here.
Yes. So that is it, folks. We are at the end of the day's session. I'm ready for questions.
So I saw one from the Zoom chat. It says, at the end of the season, leaves are yellow and sometimes with black spots. So can we compost them?
Yes, it's all fine.
Okay.
When we talk of disease, we're talking of something which is so infectious that it brings the plant down. Okay? A cucumber beetle will do it, actually. Cucumber beetle will bring the plant down.
Oh, I see.
So I can't think of any other damage in summer. Don't worry too much about the fungal infections. Okay? Unless it's very severe. Unless you have, for example, we have a problem called the root knot nematode. The root knot nematode is a harmful nematode that will eat up the roots. So when you dig up a plant, if you pull the roots and you feel that the roots has nodules, there are white nodules in the leaves, in the roots, and the roots have a lot of fungus, the root is not looking healthy. It's rotten. It has a lot of nodes. You know that nematodes are not visible to the naked eye. So you know that it's infected by the root knot nematode, and then you throw it away.
I see. Okay.
So what you need to throw away is few. So if you don't identify them, it's all right. Because what will happen here is the prevalence of good over evil, as we say.
Yeah.
So as long as there are a lot of good stuff here, they will eat up the bad stuff.
Okay.
So you will be fine.
It's not going to be harmful.
It's not going to be harmful. Yes. I'm just going to rinse my hand and be back while you can look at the questions. Give me only a moment. Yeah.
Yes.
I'll be back in a minute. And what you have here is, is of course a side story, Sandesh, but sorry. What you have here are comfrey leaves. These are comfrey leaves that have been dunked in water. Yeah. So these leaves, you just keep chopping the leaves and dunking them in water, and then they're full of nitrogen. So you take the water, rotten leaves and all, and throw it. You see, these plants really need one dose of nitrogen. These are high yielding brinjals, eggplants. They've yielded a lot this summer. We've had an overdose of brinjal. So at this time, they are looking a little weak. They're looking they need a little food. Yeah, they're a little tired. I'll also give them a haircut. I'll chop them off a little bit so that they can grow fresh and yield better. And then I'll add this concoction. That way you give them once these leaves rot. So you can do this with tomato leaves. You can do it with any large leaf. Just dunk them in water, allow it to rot, and throw it back into the plant.
Okay, yeah. Uma,
Yeah,
this
the
session
questions?
has been amazing. We got to know so much about composting your yard waste and not to leave anything in your yard, just compost them. This is fantastic. So while I think I went through pretty much all the questions, I want to see if there is any live questions from the Zoom chat. If you guys want to ask a question from Zoom, I think I pretty much have gone through all the questions from the
Great, Lata.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Lata and Sandesh have been here working very hard, setting this all up, helping me gather all the materials together.
Yeah.
Very helpful. Thank you both.
Yeah.
We've been here since 2:00. It's an hour since they've been here. And I haven't even been able to give them a glass of water. We should have some chai after this.
Yeah. Nirupama, do we have any questions, live questions that the Zoom audience would like to ask? Or did I miss any questions? Let me make sure. Yeah, I think I covered all the questions.
So Lata, there was one question which says, is there an advantage of using wire bin over a tumbling composter?
See, the tumbling composter will hold kitchen waste very efficiently, but its mouth is too small to hold garden waste. You saw how I crushed and piled them all in. So something large, like say an old trash bin is all right. An unused trash bin is fine. Or if you have a set of pellets, and you kind of adding those pallets together and creating let's say a 4x4 structure is fine. Or if you threw them in a corner of your yard is fine. I use a wire bin because I like it. I like the fact that it is together in one place, compacted in one place. You can pretty much use anything, but not the tumbling bin, Pankaj. The tumbling bin's mouth is too small to hold garden waste. Garden waste is huge in volume.
Yeah, for sure.
And what can also happen is that these twigs can come in the way when you're trying to add kitchen waste.
Yeah.
They can kind of hinder the process in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was a lot that we put in that wire bin, right? To kind of sandwich it. Yeah.
Yes.
So the other question from Zoom was, how are you making the wire bin and keeping it together? Like, is there a way to do it easily?
Yeah, it's very easy to do it. As I said at the start, I'll repeat it. You get a hardware cloth in Home Depot or in Lowe's. Hardware cloth is rolled up, that same wire rolled up into a tight roll. It's about $8 or $10 a roll. Okay. So you bring it home and you open it up, and then it's rolled up, right? So it naturally take a round shape. So you use zip ties or a thread, or you use a wire, twist wire, and you just join the ends. That's all. And then you make it stand. It's easy. It's inexpensive.
Yeah.
And these wire bins are 5-6 years old. I've been using them since December 2015 when I came here.
Mm-hmm.
The first job I did was to do this.
These are bins.
Yeah.
And you must be having a few of them lying around in your yard.
Yes.
Yeah?
I do have some with finished compost which are sitting, waiting. Which have to be spread. As I said, after this session, I will be putting them here. So the bin which I created like this in spring is now compost. I showed you the finished product, right? So I'm going to just spread that here and put the seeds. So I spread compost in my yard twice in a year, once in the month of October and once in the month of April. Okay. October for the fall and winter crop, and April for the spring and summer crops.
Okay, nice.
So it's easy to do it, Nirupama. The wire bin is not a very difficult, it's not no engineering skills required.
Any other questions? Yeah.
I think that's it from Zoom.
That's it from Zoom?
I'm sorry, from YouTube.
Okay.
Lata, we have one question about mosquitoes. Like when rotting those leaves, will it attract mosquitoes?
No, they won't. The mosquito season is quite coming to an end. Once the cold comes, they'll all go away. And this one will not, mosquitoes will breed in stagnant water and in very moist areas. Since this is a wire bin with a lot of air, it won't breed any mosquitoes. And since it doesn't have any food waste, it doesn't have any fruit peels or anything, so no fruit flies or maggots will come here. The only creatures that will habitat this bin will be earthworms, and I'm quite grateful for them to come there.
Yeah. Do they just naturally get attracted to the...
They come to any organic matter, they will be present.
They'll be... Okay.
It's their food.
Okay.
It's all about food. So you have to always ask, whose food is this? So it's the earthworm's food. I'm not, there's no food for anybody else here. Yeah.
Uma, a question about what you said about the beds that you are making today. So you showed some yard waste that is in the
Yes,
bed.
I'm going to, let me do it right here. Let me do it right now. I have this. So I had my tomato plants here, and I also had some beans which were growing on the trellis. So what you see here are the bean creepers. You see them? The leaves have all dropped off. So these are the old bean creepers. So I've just put them here. This is plastic that won't decompose. Okay. So I have them here.
So do we have to wait till these creepers and plants dry before you can do this?
No. I'm going to do it today, as I said. I'm doing it now. I'm doing it live.
Yeah.
So that's all we do. I'm covering them up like this with compost. This is compost which is created from waste from my garden, which was put in the same wire bin in spring. I emptied that wire bin into this basket, and I have created a new set of compost, right? You can see that. So
yeah.
The earthworms love it, Uma.
Yeah, of course they do. Yeah. And so, as I told you, you don't clip the plant, you don't uproot the plant, you just clip it to the bottom. So that's basil. I've just left it there. So
Yeah. Okay.
So if I've clipped off the leaves, but if something's going to come, it's fine. So here we are. I'll be throwing some spinach seeds here. And by the time the seeds germinate, and the plant becomes big, all of this would have composted. So this bed is ready now. I don't dig the beds at all. So here we are. So it's all done, Pankaj. So this bed is ready. And I'll be putting seeds on this today evening. So thanks for participating in the next session too. This is what I intended doing.
Thank you.
So that's one more session for free.
So that's that. I'll put some spinach seeds on this and they'll be fine. What happens is, as it rains and as the sun comes in and as the wind comes in, these will all settle down. There's no need for you to dig and till and make it even and all of that. Not required. The soil will take care of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Organic matter is soil's food. So when you add organic matter, soil is going to be happy. That's how you build soil. You keep layering the soil with compost and with dry leaves. You see these little pill bugs that are jumping around. Yeah, they'll all die in the winter, so you don't have to worry. And what is important is that because you're going to have, there's an earthworm.
Oh, yeah.
See how beautiful?
It's a big one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So they are quite happy. They are very shy of the light, so I let them go inside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what happens is that if you have live roots, so I've put this here and I'm going to have plants. Once there are live roots, you'll have no pests. See, people keep asking me, what is the pest spray you put? I put no sprays of any kind because once I have plants all the time, I don't leave anything fallow. So this was cleaned up 2 days ago, and today I put this and seeds will come in. So there are plants growing all the time. Once there are live roots will secrete sugar, and that will keep all the good organisms alive, and they will eat up and kill all the pest eggs and all the other harmful things that are there in the soil. So you'll have no pests.
All right.
So please keep growing. Long answer to a short question, Pankaj, but that was that.
If we don't have any more questions, do we have any more questions?
We do not.
Okay, all right. Uma, this was fantastic. Thank you so much for this engaging and informative session. We really enjoyed being in your garden and seeing you do some wonderful things and teaching us how to compost all your yard waste. This has been a wealth of knowledge. Thank you. So that's all we have for today, guys. Please visit our website, Facebook or Instagram page, or email us at greenstalelatlanta.com for any questions that you have. And also check out all the upcoming events that we have and all the YouTube recordings that we have, all the prior webinars that we've been recording. It's all in our YouTube channel. And if you would like to donate towards this cause, if you like what we do, please do find the donate button on our website. And we also would like to request everybody to fill a 1-minute survey to just let us know how we are doing. And also, if you have any interesting topics that you would like to ask next time, please definitely put that in. And thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Everybody have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure. Always a joy to talk about these things. Thank you. Thank you, Green Sir. Thanks, everyone.